Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. This is Anna Feld speaking, and we are so excited to have you here at this webinar today. And before we get started, I just would like to say to all of you, thank you so much again for having been amazing champions and for having stayed in touch with us. It's been, I recognize all of your names on the list, and every time I see a name, I can remember your contribution and your stories, and it's very exciting to have you on board this time as mentors and advisors to the new group of champions. And you might have, I don't know, Diana, if you mentioned in the communication with you, this time around we had 4,000 applications. 4,000 people from all over the world that wanted to join. It was a really tough competition, I would say, this year. We selected out of the 4,000, 170 champions. And they were all amazing contributors to women's economic empowerment. And the only way that we can make this work is with your contributions and your support to be able to handle this 170 people. So let's get started. This is what we'd like to do today is to really walk you through what we have already talked about with these 170 champions. As you know, you have the same message, and we'd also like to update you a little bit of what has happened with Empower Women from our perspective. You probably have seen it from a different light, but from our perspective, what we see is new and what is emerging and what's coming next. And the difference is also that the current championship is 1 month shorter, but it will be an intense period in the next 4 months until the 10th of April, where we will wrap up this group of champions. We'll talk a little bit about the relationship between the mentor and champion, and also what many of you have contributed to the evaluation of the Empower Women initiative. And we've got some recommendations that we want to implement as soon as possible, and that is around monitoring and evaluation and how we can better capture all the amazing contributions that you are doing. Many of you have written stories, not all of you, so I encourage you to also contribute your stories on your path as a champion and what you did and how you contributed to women's economic empowerment in your country or your region or globally. This is very important for us and also to grow this movement, to show that it's possible through the Champion program to make a difference for women's economic empowerment around the world. And then we'll have Q&A session. I'm sure you have tons of questions, and also a little bit about what's next. As usual, you are now probably very familiar with the webinar technology, but just to reiterate that you go to the question panel, and that's where you can input your questions and comments later on in the Q&A session. So what's new? As you probably all know, in March we launched the redesign of the Empower Women website. We hope that it has enhanced your experience and that it's easier to navigate, explore, connect, and collaborate with others. We are, as always, open for feedback from you in anything, any contributions or recommendations that you have. Always send it our way. We love to get those recommendations, and that's also how we did the redesign, was based on your feedback and how we can simplify and make it more easy to navigate. You probably also have seen that we have a few more campaigns. Many of you contributed to the I Am Woman campaign and also had your story published in our book that we launched also in March. And we are now continuing with 3 different campaigns that have been rolled out. She Means Business is the campaign that we've been doing with Facebook since, when did we start? In January, February? In February. And that has been a great experience for us. We have grown our Facebook membership to over 200,000. So this has been an amazing ride with Facebook with this She Means business. We have also launched in early fall, at the end of the summer, Her Story. We worked with a few champions in conceptualizing the Her Story campaign. If you haven't contributed yet, this might be an opportunity to do so. If somebody from the group of champions that conceptualized it would like to talk about it later, feel free to raise your hand. But basically, it is to capture women in history and not making it his story, but her story as well, and capture more of the women that have contributed to development and progress in the world, whether it is in science, in technology, in anything for that matter. And then we also use that material to put it on Wikipedia. So we have also joined Wikipedia in making sure that when people Google, and often the first results that you get when you Google is Wikipedia, and to make sure that women and also gender equality issues are covered in Wikipedia. Finally, the Break the Glass is another campaign, and if you're interested to learn more, maybe Cecilia can talk a little bit more about it, but it's basically a video-based campaign where we encourage all of our membership to tell how they broke the glass in terms of overcoming gender inequalities and achieve empowerment. I talked briefly about the evaluation of the phase 1. We started that in the summer, and we will have a webinar in January where we'll present some of the results. For those who are interested and probably have contributed, you want to know what was picked up by the evaluation company. So this has been very exciting for us. Empower Women was positioned by the evaluators as an innovation and a great community that are working closely with women and men across the world in empowerment, but also driving change beyond UN Women's presence. So that's thanks very much to you, to the champions, that you have been able to make our project very successful. So thank you for that. What we are doing now, we have listened to you, and many of you have talked about the need for, or the interest in being engaged in skills development, to take courses, to have more videos about skills development. And this is a very important area for us for two reasons. I will go into a little bit more detail and show you what the Virtual Skills School is about, but this is something we are conceptualizing, and we will have some kind of minimum viable product in early January, and we will ask the champions to help us prepare for a proof of concept. Basically, is this the way to go? That we are doing it, and we want it to be user-driven and based on user demand, and not what we think that people want. But from our perspective, we have two dimensions to it. Oh, actually three, I would say. One is about getting the girls who dropped out, who are currently out of school, they might not even have started, to give them a second chance to learn and potentially go back to school with the courses that we will put in the Virtual Skills School. It is also about focusing on the 21st century skills. Maybe you've heard about the 21st century skills, but it is a framework developed by the World Economic Forum, or through the World Economic Forum, that focuses about the skills that you need to have to be successful in the 21st century labor market. And we have seen, and we see everyday research articles that says that the companies that are looking for employees, they can't find the ones with the right skills. So we have decided to work with these companies and figure out what is it that they want and need, and how can we help equip women and girls to make sure that they have those skills and prepare them for the 21st century labor market. And the third dimension to it, for those who have been involved with the women's empowerment principles, we want to make sure that these companies are also ready to take on board these women and eventually the girls, that they have gender-responsive work or gender-sensitive work environments, both in the workplace and through the value chain, in their activities that they do in the communities. And finally, this is the 5th round of the champions, and as I mentioned, we had about 4,000 applications. So I talked already a little bit about the Virtual Skills School. Currently, this is our working title, a working name for this initiative. It will be linked to Empower Women, but we might at some point think that we should change the name, and that's the time where we will reach out to you again and get suggestions for what should we call this Virtual Skills School. And we will focus, I talked about the 21st century skills, the second chance education, the changemaker activation, and we'll also focus on those who immediately need jobs. It might be women in a refugee camp, it might be poor women that need a job and technical skills right away. We've had discussions with some companies that are working on electricity and are preparing electricians, plumbers. It can be any of those direct skills that you can start your job as soon as you complete the training. So this is another area that we'll focus on. You are probably already aware that we have the Champions for Change site, and this is where we would like to post all of your stories of, on the impact that you made as a champion and any other information that is relevant specifically for the champions. We'll share this PowerPoint presentation later, so you can get the direct link if you haven't seen this page before. This is just a little bit about we have one page that you could also look at, which is about the call for the champions, and we picked some of you to show the previous champions, and I see that some of you are here online and you're also pictured here on the pictures. So what we have, it aligns very much with the expectations that we had for you when you were champions, but we just want to reiterate what we have told the new champions, that the condition for being selected and also remain a champion over time is that they have a passion and show their passion and active participation both online and offline, that they dedicate about 4 to 5 hours a week to work on their action plans and the personal and group project. And again, we've seen that some people over time might not, for personal or professional reasons, might not be able to complete the championship, and we want to make sure that those who are really committed get most of our time. And so we encourage those that haven't been active for the past 4 weeks to actually drop out and join us later on. So that our time commitment, both from you and women and through you, the mentors, that we are focusing on those who actually are eager to participate and make a difference. And not that you have to chase them down because they are busy with some personal or professional commitments. And we have also made it very clear that there's no funds available, and we talked to them a little bit about how creative you have been in finding ways to do your activities without funding. And this is actually also for our team. We have very little funding ourselves, and we're always trying to find ways of leveraging what we have and partnerships to actually make things possible. This time we have, for those who were part of the first group of champions, you might remember that we had different persona groups at the time in 2013, 2014. And then the other championships, we were quite open and we didn't have any themes particularly for the champions, but we thought this time let's focus in again and see how this will work. So we are focusing on 3 themes, and we have, these are the colleagues in the team. Maral is leading on the business development group, and this is basically about the organizational hub, as we call it today. It was previously called the business hub, but we are focusing on both companies and organizations that work to drive women's economic empowerment. And we can talk a little bit more about that, but also as a follow-up, there will be further information and meetings about this to go more in detail on what that means. Diana is leading the skills development group, which links very much to the virtual skills school. And then we have Cecilia and Emad in the advocacy and social media group. And it goes beyond just being active on Facebook and Twitter. It also goes into creating infographics and videos and other material that we can get more visibility for women's economic empowerment. So what is your role as a mentor? So the role of the mentor is to really provide advice and guidance, first of all, on the topic of women's economic empowerment. There's 170 people that have now been selected as a champion. What we learned in the webinar with them on Tuesday was that they are not all of them familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals and what those mean. So I think we might have a webinar in January to talk a little bit more about what are the Sustainable Development Goals and what are the elements within the Sustainable Development Goals that focus on economic empowerment, and go a little bit more in depth. But in the meantime, you've been active and you know what it is, so feel free to also give some, maybe ask them some questions to make sure they understand what we are talking about. It's also to be a little bit the devil's advocate. You already all gone through the process of having your personal or group projects, so you know very much that you start with big ideas and you want to make a big difference, but how you actually funnel and channel down your ideas to something very concrete and doable over the course of the time. So keep in mind this is 4 months for them to do a project, and make sure that they're not taking on too much, but also that it's a little bit challenging so that they learn enough from the experience. But also to give them opportunities, anything that you are involved with online or even offline if you happen to be in the same continent or country, to just kind of send them their way some opportunity of getting involved. But also to kind of help them get visibility and encourage them to write their stories, or how they can get visibility for the work that they do. What we will do, many of you have seen that we've been using our Twibbon for the champions. We will do now a mentor Twibbon so that you can use and be recognized as a mentor for the Empower Women Champions. And the relationship. So the way we have thought about it, and we'd like to also get your feedback, of course, is that Maral, Diana, and Cecilia and Ahmad will lead on these 3 different groups, and then they will each have a few mentors that they are working directly with, and then that you in turn have, I think it depends a little bit about how many mentors that are committed to do this. We have, I think, about 60 that committed to be mentors, and that means that it will be about 3 champions per mentor. So unless there's some mentor that drops out, you might actually get maybe 4 or 5. But this is the model that we have worked out. And what is important is really that even though we have these 3 groups, don't see them as 3 separate, completely separate activities. they are very much linked. So for example, if the business development group identifies great organizations that does great work on economic empowerment and they post their profile in the organizational hub, the advocacy and skills development group might pick that up and say, let's do something with these organizations and showcase them on social media, for example. Or similarly, the skills development group might decide to write an article about a topic, and again, they might want the advocacy and skills development group to help them create a video or an infographic or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of overlaps. But we think that to be able to manage the groups, it's good to have them separate. But when it comes to the actual implementation, you're all kind of interlinked somehow. And we will have some webinars. Diana, maybe you can remind me. We had a poll with the champions on what are their interest areas. And we had some different topics. Not many of them actually voted for SDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals, but we realized there was a lot of questions about it, so we think we'll do it anyway. But otherwise, can you remind me, Diana, what was the highest interest area among the champions on what webinars to do?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Sorry, Diana,
my voice is not very good for the webinar today, but I will do my best. So I think the most interesting area is how to present the topic of women economic empowerment within the community. And I think you were great in doing so. You had very interesting presentation, very engaging, and our plea to you is to guide them how to be engaging with the community, but also through their communication, how to deliver a good message. Another areas of interest is how to collaborate better. I mean, how in the same time it's so easy to collaborate when we have the platform, email, Facebook, other groups. In the same time, you don't know the person. Not everyone might be comfortable to speak and to know how to ask the questions. So a webinar on how to communicate if you don't know the other part will be very interesting. And if you had a good experience, it will be nice to organize these webinars together and to have some good examples to follow for them. We have a very engaging group of 170 people, but as you imagine, it's a new model for us, and we will like to work hand in hand with you to contribute, for example, and to make it a strong and sustainable model of relationship between mentor and champions. As you might remember, for example, for champions, we do have a toolkit, and we will share with you the toolkit that we shared with champions. But for example, we don't have mentors, and maybe it's a good idea if any of you would like to work with us on this to prepare a toolkit for mentors. If you don't have it, for future, to have it for future, and to be kind of a guide as we have it for the champions. So all of this together is very important to have. And also on the time frame, when we asked our current champions when they would like to have a webinar, the majority of them responded that it will be 10 o'clock Eastern time. So around this time we will make the webinars. I hope this model will work for you. And in terms of topics, also it was how effectively to lead empowerment project initiatives and teams. So to go beyond their interests, but actually to work together on a common good. So they still don't see it, the big picture, how their project and interest will be interested and useful for empowerment for you and women. And I think you are the best people who know, since you already lived the experience, and you can share with them tips, insights, but also through your examples to teach them and to guide them better.
And also some of them, so I think we'll have how to write compelling blogs and articles on economic empowerment. This is something that if any of you are interested in leading a webinar on this, that would be great. Because as Diana was saying, it's you know it best. You've been writing the stories, you've been leading the projects, you've created teams. So we'd really like to engage you in these different webinars. Before we go into the Q&A, what we had thought for the next steps, and thank you so much, Diana. I know Diana has worked so hard that she's now gotten sick. She has responded to about 4,000 emails, I think, in the past week. But we will send out a suggested list on who are the mentees and who we think would be suitable being in what group. Next week, each of the 3 groups will have a meeting where the focal point here at UN Women and the mentors and the champions will meet all together in the business development group, skills development group, advocacy and social media separately, so that you can get more acquainted with the topic, but also with each other. But feel free, we will send the contacts of the mentees today. And what we were thinking, that one thing that we think is quite important to keep in mind when we set up these groups is about the time zone, so that you are not based in Asia and then you get your champion in Latin America. So that we're trying to keep that in mind so that you can connect easily in the same time zone. So feel free to already introduce yourself to the mentees, and then once you get the list from us, and then next week we will go into more details about the different thematic areas.
One thing to mention here is that I know several of you selected to work, for example, in a group, but several of you also selected 2 or 3 groups. We will have to distribute the mentors only one for each group. So unfortunately, you will not be able to work in 2 groups simultaneously. It's just for us to have a little bit of order and to be easier and more logistically as well from the organizational perspectives. And also it's also demanding because you'll have 3 or 4 champions, and we appreciate your time, we appreciate your efforts, and we understand that maybe probably 6, 7, 8 people will be too much. So if the distribution, for example, will not be according to your first pick, please let us know today. But I hope you will agree with our selection, and I hope we will be able to collaborate further as as you indicated, because we try to do our best to respect your wish, but also to divide in such a way to have an equal amount of mentors for each group. And also we will provide a template email, maybe correctly to say template text. This is proposed text, how you can introduce yourself. Also, please feel free to choose your way of communication with champions. We already told them that with us, you will collaborate via GoToWebinars and BlueJeans, but you can talk with champions, Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook. It's really up to you what's more convenient. And we thought that mentors would need to speak with champions once per week. Half an hour, short meeting, just to update and to guide and to make sure that everything goes well. The rest of communication will go via emails.
Yeah, and I think also you don't have to do it one by one, but you can take all of your champions at once. And we think that it's also a good way to kind of make sure that they get to know each other in your group. And then they can even meet more often if they'd like within your mentee group, and they can have peer support. So encourage them to work together. Teamwork is one of the 21st century skills. So that's what we always encourage everyone to learn, and how to navigate, and even though you come from different cultures, different backgrounds, different disciplines, that you are able to work together, and this is the essence of the United Nations.
And then once in 2 weeks, you will meet the group, and the mentor will meet with us for focal points, also for 15-20 minutes follow-up. And over there, I mean, you'll be able to tackle questions, or maybe some, share the news with us. If this meeting will not be necessary, we will not meet. So this is the model we created, but if you have any feedback on this, please let us know. And we thought we will organize once per month a webinar, as Anna mentioned prior to that, to increase the capacity of our champions, but also another webinar will be only within the group. For example, those 60 champions from the skills development group and 20 champions, mentors from the skills development group, and each group will have 5 minutes to report back what they did within the month, maybe there are areas of collaborations and so on. We really want to be engaging, but also as much connectivity, to keep as much connectivity as possible.
Great, thank you. And I think also the model that we showed earlier, how they're all interconnected, hopefully would also help bridge any gaps for a group that you selected initially, and we might have put you in a different group. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but you have at least some order. I've seen, we're going to the Q&A session, and I've seen that there is some offerings from Sabine. Thank you so much for doing webinars and sharing your notes on mentorship, and maybe some of you would like to form a group and maybe work on this with Diana on a handbook for the mentors. So what we did for what we've had in the past is the toolkit for the champions, but it would be great if on the basis of that material to develop something and how to be an effective mentor. And thank you also, Zari, for joining that team. Sabine and Zari, maybe you could connect in talking about that. And thank you also to work on the SDG presentation. Josef is wishing you a good recovery.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josef, for joining. And Laura Martinez is also like to work on the mentoring toolkit. So any other questions at this point that you'd like to raise? I'm just going to see if there are any hands up as well. I know that Karen wanted to say something, but she was kind of logging in and out.
I think we have two hands, Alexandra and Elham, but before that I just wanted to let you know that there is a mistake in one hashtag. We will send the correct ones via PowerPoint presentation and via email. Apologies for this, this is my mistake, and I will make sure to send the correct hashtag for the Break the Glass campaign via the email.
Thank you, Diana. So, Sasha, do you want to go first? I have unmuted you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say, well, thank you. I'm very honored and excited to be in this group. And I will definitely share my story on how being a champion has empowered me and really transformed my life. But also, I am interested in helping create a webinar in the future or a toolkit. And I'm looking at connecting a large organization here in Orlando that I was introduced to through a friend. They do a lot of work with women, empowering them and mentoring them, and I think it would be a great partnership to connect them to empower women. And that way I'd be able to contribute here, but also in my local community, you know, as a grassroots advocate.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Great to have you on board.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And Sasha, did you imagine with all the team, because I know a lot of Her Story team over here, that it will grow so fast in such a big number? I hope you are happy, and I hope all of you will work with your champions to gather more stories and to feature ordinary, extraordinary people, as you say, via this campaign.
Very, very excited to see the exponential growth, and it speaks to how many of us around the world are so connected in empowering girls and women. You can't stop that energy. You can't stop that momentum. And the more we talk and connect across groups, the greater the momentum. So I'm super excited about the growth. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you, Sasha. So we'll ask Elham, I'm unmuting you. Hello? There needs to be some noise. Let's move to Emmanuel.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing, guys? It's been a long time, and I'm very happy to reconnect with you guys. In fact,
yeah, I saw your name, so that's why I was thinking I'm the first group.
yeah, on the first, exactly the first batch, exactly.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I'm very happy to be part of this new venture. And I had a question regarding the mentor toolkit, and I just want to know exactly how long is it going to, for production of this kind of toolkit, how long do you think it's going to take exactly to work on it?
I think that, I mean, we have the basis of what the champion toolkit, and I think we need to incorporate, I think we already got some great suggestions from Sabine, who already had some material that she could share quite soon. And I think that it's a great question, actually, because for some of you might not have been in this role before, and you'd like to get the guidance as soon as possible. So maybe I can also ask Sabine if the material that you have, I will give you the floor, Sabine. If the material that you have actually could be used right away, and maybe the other mentors can jump in and start using it while we are creating the handbook. So this is a question. Sabine, are you there? Did you have any other questions, Emmanuel, before I?
No, in fact, that was the only one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
So let's see if I can find Sabine. Where is she? Sabine, are you here? Sabine, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I do have some content, but I can just, revamp it, tweak it a little bit, and send it across by Sunday, max Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be amazing.
What we can do is I can put like with all those who suggested and kind of opened for collaboration on this, we can have a common document on the Google, right? And we can contribute all together. We can have this group, and then with Sabine's help, we will put the main content, and then whatever it's needed, we can add. And I assume we can have it ready by the end of the year, so we can have
definitely.
Yes. And thank you so much. And I'm sure you've been, maybe you read about mentorship, or you've been engaged prior to that, and or maybe you have a new idea that we can apply. You know that we are very innovative. We are not afraid of new challenges and to try. So please feel free to speak your mind, and together we will try. And if anything needs to be changed, now is the moment.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Sabine.
Yusuf wanted to speak.
Yes, I also saw that Elham had some difficulties with the sound, but let's see if It's been fixed. Do you want to try again? Elham, I have unmuted you. Maybe not. Okay, so I'll give you another chance later on. Laura, it's your turn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you very much for this initiative. I think it's a great way to be able to, support the Empower Women initiative. And now that we're former champions, so to speak. I would just like to ask, when we were talking about the number of mentorees we would be assigned, I think 3, 4 it's a good, maybe ambitious number, but more than that could be quite complicated to follow up and to do a good job, at least on my perspective. I don't know if there's a possibility of sticking to 3, or it depends on the amount of mentors that are available at the moment, or why did you choose that number because you divided between the mentors that were available, or did you think about how much time you thought would be needed versus the mentorees? Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Laura, for this question. Just to kind of what we thought it was a good number, but I'll ask Diana to come in as well. Diana has been mentoring about 15 to 25 at sometimes champions at one time. So we thought that to have 2, 3 was we are not asking you to be talking with them every day, but to maybe have a weekly or every 10 days a check-in and see how they're doing, just so that they feel that there's somebody who's there to answer any questions. And our experience with you guys haven't been that it's required a lot of time, but I don't know, Diana, do you want to add something? And maybe you want to respond to this as well, Laura.
Yeah. So our kind of model were factored by 2 main kind of thinking. One based on our experience, and the second based on evaluation. When you spoke with our external evaluation, you said that some of you said from 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016 champions said that the connection was great, but sometimes we wanted more attention in kind of a little bit just to speak more, or maybe respond more frequently, and so on. We tried our best. We created the model, but we understand that the model is not perfect for all of them and for all of us. And while we did our best, there are room for improvement. So we thought we will distribute equally the amount of mentors. Of course, it's not like one group has 20 and one group has 20. No, but in terms of champions, each mentor will have 3 champions. And we thought this is a good model to start, 3 people, in order to give attention, share the experience, but also to test your capabilities. Because at the end of these 4 months, you will be the ones who will share with us, how did you feel as a mentor? 3 people were a good amount of people, or you could take more, or it was too much, maybe 1 per, a champion per mentor is enough. So at the end, this is a testing model. It's combined based on 2 logical framework, but if you think you can handle more, we probably can maybe share some champions who, for example, want to have 2 different mentors or something like this. We didn't want to give them room for choosing because they don't know you guys. So based on matching the mentor and champion was based on locational, so geographical, and language. This was the only base that I'm not sure if this responds to your question, but if you have any other questions, let us know.
And also, I think, as Diana said, it's really a period where we'd like to see how it works. So if you feel personally, this is, I can't handle it, it's too much, or whatever it might be, just let us know. And it's not that it's cut in stone and this is the way we have to do it. So we'd really like to, and that's why we want to make sure that there are regular meetings also between us and you, so that we can get that feedback. But our experience was also to handle the 4,000 applicants and the 170 enthusiastic and passionate people is also a lot on our side, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to also become a mentor, because this is also a part of empowerment.
Especially there are so many champions who are willing, and I mean the group of, Cecilia can speak more about this, but the group of social media and advocacy, they're so engaging, they require a lot of feedback on the infographics, videos, and I mean, knowing that you are so engaging and you know, you are professional in the field, I hope that we can manage all these people, and not only manage, but give them a true example and make them willing to become mentors in turn.
Thank you, Diana. Did that respond to your question, Laura?
Yes, thank you. That makes sense. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks. I also see that, Sabine, you're recommending ginger tea and honey for Diana. I would recommend zinc, because I almost got sick 3 times in the last month, and every time I took zinc, I actually recovered. So
I'm good.
that's another tip for all of you in this season. We have a question from Sheila. I don't know if Sheila has raised her hand or is it just a question. I think it's just a written question about the GoToWebinar account. We are already overwhelming our IT department with all the webinars that we are hosting. So unfortunately, not for the webinar. We will have, for the group meetings, the blue jeans, we can have up to 100, and maybe there are ways that we can, I don't know, share this link or whatever.
Yeah, we can create, for the blue jeans, I think we can facilitate a meeting link between you and mentor. For example, if you, champion, I'm so sorry, I'm still getting cues with this model. And you know, I'm so happy that we will have our first mentors. It's like having a baby which is one day old, right? And together we will grow this baby. I think that what we can do, once you and your champion agree on a certain date and time, we can set up recurring meetings, and you can use that link always. And the way we can set up is just you can conduct the meetings without us. It will be an open link just between you and your champions. Yeah. And we can do that for any of you who would like. But GoToWebinar, it will be a little bit more difficult since we are using our ICT services for this.
Yeah, and also just to add that if you could decide a particular time, so because we cannot use blue jeans with a separate link at the same time. So if it is a time that we can set apart where you can use this link, that would be very helpful, because otherwise we might crash your party by using the link to our meetings. So we can go into that in detail maybe between the focal point of you and women and the mentors when you meet in the different groups. But there are many other ways, through Skype, through WhatsApp. You could even create WhatsApp groups, and any of the other platforms that exist, where you could also use free services. So there's a lot of opportunities. Okay, I see Elham has some problems. Let's see with Suchi. It's your turn here on the list. I have unmuted you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Hi.
Hey, hi. So excited to be back on webinars. So I'm sorry, I'm also having a bad throat. Very excited. I was part of the first champion series, and I'm part of the first mentor series again. So it's going to be Really, really looking forward to this. I just wanted to volunteer for a, there was a discussion on webinar for writing blogs. I'll be very happy to do that. I've been writing blogs for a long time, and because I have a lot of stories to share all the time from my field work, working with women and working with women working in different areas. I'll be happy to have guide a webinar on writing blogs. That's something I wanted to just say.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. We are taking note, and
I will set up a schedule, and we will know in advance. Maybe we even can start with our first webinar, since we already have 2 people who want to work and present, Sasha and Sushi. Maybe we can have this webinar, how to write blogs and engaging stories, in January. And we can work together on the presentation, and in advance all the mentors will know when this will be, so you can inform your champions and keep the communication going.
Yeah, and also I'd like to suggest that because I'm sure there are a lot of mentor champions that will be there from India as well. So I know I cannot pick and choose, but if you would, it would be very good if I can have someone which is based in Delhi, if possible, so that if beyond the beyond the internet world, if they want to take guidance in their work life, working in Empower Women domain, I'll be happy to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, no, we'll try to kind of keep you also, if we see that there's a match in countries. I don't know if we have any
from Delhi. Yeah, I don't think we have anyone from Delhi.
Do we have somebody from India? Yeah, we might have somebody from India. I know we have a lot of people from Nigeria, but I don't think we have a mentor from Nigeria, do we? Anyway, thank you so much for that. We have taken note, and we'll let you know when we can discuss a good date that works for all of us for the webinar. Okay, Joseph, you are on. Well, basically unmuted. Joseph. I think Joseph got tired of waiting. We'll get back to you, Joseph, in a little bit. Any other questions? I know the time is up. And I think that this is a very exciting time. Oh, Joseph, you're unmuted still, so if you are back. Joseph? No, I did not see Zari's hand.
Hello, do you hear me, please? Do you hear me?
Yes, hi, Joseph.
Finally, how are you doing? Thank you so much for this enriching and kind conversation so far. So I am very excited to be part of this experience, as I had the honor to be part of the first experience of championship, which really helped me to move forward in my career, actually, especially here in Morocco, regarding gender equality and economic empowerment for women. Actually, I had a question, but Laura has already asked it before about the mentors and the members, so I will not repeat again. I don't know, actually I have just a suggestion. So it would be very good, because during the championship experience, so we had so many webinars and online discussions. But I think that would be very good, helpful and fruitful for all of us, and also for the Empower Women, if we think about gathering one day, maybe these mentors or these alumni champions in one conference that we can gather and discuss face-to-face, and to bring our experiences and stories into the world. Actually, that really would be helpful, because online actually webinars and online experience are very much helpful in the 21st century, but let's also think about bringing all maybe the alumni champions, or some champions, or maybe the mentors into one conference, because that really will help the empower women family, because years ago I consider myself that I am from empower women family. Thank you so much, and I wish you the very best of luck, and we are going to do our best in order to make you and to make us proud.
Great, thank you so much, Yusuf. You've been a great male champion with your initiative in Morocco, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are over time, and I'm conscious about you have other commitments. I just want to ask one more person, Zari, you're unmuted, to quickly bring up your feedback or comment or question.
Thank you, Anna and Diana. It's also good to reconnect with you. I don't know what happened. I was trying to raise my hand and then it didn't go through or something. But just to say, so wonderful to see the progress and the expansion being part of this whole process and the consultations that took place. It's been an amazing growth and amazing experience, and I'm very happy to be part of the mentor pool now, and just to say that I would be willing to work with the champions, like even outside of the internet world, like if they need opinions or advice, on articles or publications or other things that they're working on, I would be happy to do that. Two of my biggest interests in this one is the toolkit for the mentors. I've been part of developing toolkits, so, and like you said, I would love to connect with Sabine. And then also the discussions on the SDGs. That's the other matter of interest to me. And also the fact that I'm working on a research project with Whitford Laurier University here in Canada, which is about skills development for women. And I would like to share the work that we've been doing. We did some data collection, and then now they are working on the analysis, and results are hoping to be through in January, February. And then I would like to discuss with you, Diana and Anna, on how to position that, and so that it can be used by others across the globe as well. So it's been a great process. Thank you so much for your leadership and such a great model that you have created. It's amazing, and the connections that we have made, and also to be able to talk to other mentors. That's going to be a very positive thing for me. So once again, thank you.
No, thank you very much. I see that a lot of people have already dropped out, so I think we'll just wrap it up now. But thank you so much. We will definitely put you guys together, so you can get started with the mentoring toolkits. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'm particularly interested, Anna, to share with you about the research project. And so I guess that we can do offline, like I'll write an email or discuss more.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. We are so excited to have you on board, and I'm sure that will be an amazing experience for all of us to take this champion program to the next level. And it will be our first time that we have mentors, so we are very excited to also make sure that it works. But we know from each and every one of you that it will be possible thanks to your passion and your professionalism. So thank you so much. And we'll be in touch soon. Thank you.